Have you ever felt that no matter how much you try to visualize, to repeat affirmations, to hold on to positive thoughts, your reality doesn't really change? It's almost as if you're standing in front of a locked door, holding all the keys you've been told should open it, but none of them seem to work. Maybe you've read the books, followed the steps, and created the vision boards, but deep down there's a quiet ache, a whisper that asks, why is my life still the same? Why do I still feel stuck? If that has been your experience, you are not alone. So many seekers begin their journey into manifestation and self-development with hope and excitement, only to feel disillusioned when the results don't show up as promised. What if I told you that the reason it hasn't worked is not because you're doing it wrong, not because you're broken, but because there are truths hidden just beneath the surface, truths most beginners never hear. Imagine for a moment that reality is not a solid fixed structure, but more like a flowing river of energy that responds to the subtlest currents of your being. Most of us are taught to splash at the surface of that river, hoping to create waves that move us forward, when in fact the true power lies in understanding the deeper currents. And that is where these quantum laws come in. They are not complicated formulas, not scientific jargon, but living principles that reveal how your consciousness truly interacts with reality. Think of your current self, the one that is trying, struggling, hoping, and waiting. This self is caught in cycles of doubt and desire, almost like someone chasing their own shadow. Then imagine the new self that awakens when these hidden laws are finally understood, the self who no longer chases but simply allows, the self who moves through life with a quiet certainty, because they understand the mechanics of creation at the deepest level. That is the transformation waiting for you. It is the shift from being trapped in frustration to stepping into alignment with the very fabric of the universe. I want you to picture a young child trying to fly a kite without realizing the wind is the true force that lifts it. The child runs harder and harder, sweating, exhausted, but the kite never rises. Then someone whispers, "Wait for the wind, feel it, align the string with it, and then watch." Suddenly, with no struggle, the kite soars. This is the difference between surface-level manifestation techniques and the deeper quantum truths that no one told you in the beginning. It's not about force, it's not about trying harder, it's about alignment with laws that are already at play, whether you know them or not. And that is why you are here now. Something inside you guided you to this moment, to these words, because you're ready to stop running and start aligning. You're ready to move beyond surface methods and into the profound understanding of how reality truly bends and shifts in response to your inner state. The old self may have been caught in fear, impatience, and endless searching, but the new self is stepping forward, calm, centered, and aware that life doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. This video is not just another motivational talk or a quick fix promise. It is an initiation into seeing reality with new eyes. We will explore the 3 quantum laws that most beginners never hear about, the laws that explain why affirmations sometimes fall flat, why visualizations fade away, and why even strong desire can push what you want further out of reach. As we go deeper, you'll begin to feel something shift inside you. It's not just information, it's resonance, it's the recognition of truth, like remembering something you always knew but had forgotten. So before we begin, I invite you to pause and take a breath. Feel where you are sitting. Notice the ground supporting you. Let yourself soften into the moment. You are not here by accident. You are here because you are ready to receive what your soul has been asking for: clarity, alignment, and a way forward. In the next few minutes, as we explore these hidden laws together, I want you to stay open. Notice the resistance that might arise, the voice of doubt that says, "Could it really be this simple?" That voice is the echo of the old self. Smile at it. Acknowledge it. But don't let it hold you back, because what lies ahead is the doorway to your shifted reality. Imagine yourself a year from now, looking back at this very moment. You'll remember how you once felt stuck, how you once carried the weight of confusion and frustration, and you'll also remember how something subtle began to change as you allowed these truths to sink in. That future version of you is already waiting, smiling, cheering you on, saying, "Yes, you made the choice to awaken. You chose alignment over struggle. You chose clarity over confusion." The journey ahead is not about becoming someone else. It is about remembering who you really are, a conscious creator, a being whose thoughts, emotions, and energy shape reality itself. And once you understand the laws that govern this creation, everything shifts. No more chasing shadows. No more exhausting yourself trying to force outcomes. Instead, a calm knowing begins to guide you, and life responds with synchronicities, opportunities, and transformations that feel almost magical. So let us begin this journey together. In just a moment, we will peel back the illusions of surface-level manifestation, and then step into the 3 quantum laws nobody tells beginners. But for now, hold on to this. The key has always been within you. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are simply standing at the threshold of a deeper truth, and as you step across, you will never see reality the same way again. When most people first hear about manifestation, they are introduced to it in the simplest possible way. They are told to think positively, to repeat affirmations, to create vision boards filled with pictures of the life they want. And at first it feels exciting. It feels like magic might finally be within reach. You wake up in the morning, stand in front of the mirror, and repeat words like, I am abundant, I am powerful, I am successful. You close your eyes and imagine yourself driving the dream car, living in the dream home, or holding the hand of the partner you desire. For a few moments, there is a spark of hope, but then as days turn into weeks, reality does not shift. The same bills sit on the table, the same doubts creep in at night, the same patterns of life play out again and again, and the seeker is left wondering, did I do something wrong? Why does this work for others but not for me? This is the first great illusion. It is the trap of surface-level manifestation. It teaches us to focus on the paint, the outer layer, while ignoring the cracks in the wall beneath. You can decorate a wall with the brightest colors, but if the foundation is broken, eventually the illusion fades, and the cracks return. In the same way, repeating affirmations without addressing the deeper energy behind them only creates a temporary high, not a lasting shift. To understand why, let's look at the nature of consciousness. Thoughts are powerful, but they are not isolated. They are carried by energy, and that energy is shaped by belief, emotion, and subconscious conditioning. If the deeper current of your being is rooted in lack, fear, or unworthiness, then affirmations become like trying to plant seeds on rocky soil. The words may be beautiful, but the ground is not ready to receive them, and so the seeds never take root. Have you ever noticed how, the harder you try to convince yourself of something, the louder the opposite voice seems to grow inside? You say, I am abundant, but a whisper immediately responds, no, you're not. Look at your bank account. You say, I am loved, and the echo comes back, but remember how you were hurt. This inner contradiction is not a failure. It is a sign that surface-level manifestation cannot override the deeper quantum mechanics of reality. Consciousness does not respond to what you wish were true. It responds to the vibration you truly carry, and this is why so many people feel stuck. They spend years trying to force the universe with vision boards and repeated phrases, but all the while, their inner state is broadcasting the opposite signal. The universe is not punishing them. It is simply mirroring back the energy they hold beneath the surface. This is the illusion, believing that changing the surface alone will change the reflection, when in truth the reflection shifts only when the core frequency changes. Think of it like a radio. If you want to hear a different song, you don't shout at the radio or paste pictures of your favorite singer onto it. You tune the frequency. Until the dial is adjusted, the music remains the same. Most beginners in manifestation are shouting at the radio, desperately hoping it will change stations without realizing that the real work lies in shifting the dial within. Now, this doesn't mean affirmations or vision boards are useless. They are tools, but they are tools meant to support an already aligned frequency, not to create alignment on their own. They are reminders, not engines. When you are already living in the vibration of abundance, affirmations feel natural, like truth. They strengthen the signal, but when you are out of alignment, they only highlight the gap, making you feel the absence even more strongly. This is why people often say manifestation doesn't work, or worse, that it works for everyone else but not for them. They are unknowingly caught in the surface game, painting the walls again and again, but never repairing the foundation. The illusion keeps them busy, distracted, and even more disconnected from the real quantum principles that govern creation. And here is where the contrast becomes clear. The old self is the one trapped in the illusion, repeating words, clinging to vision boards, and feeling secretly frustrated inside. The new self begins to recognize that manifestation is not about force but about resonance. It is not about trying to trick the universe into giving you what you want, but about aligning your inner world so fully that reality has no choice but to reflect it. If you've ever met someone who seems effortlessly magnetic, opportunities flow to them, people are drawn to them, and life seems to bend in their favor, you've seen the difference. They are not necessarily sitting at home writing affirmations 10 times a day. They are living in a state of being that matches what they desire. Their presence speaks louder than their words. Their energy carries the frequency of what they attract. And that is what the illusion of surface manifestation hides: the truth that creation happens not from the mask you wear, but from the vibration you embody. So many people abandon the path at this stage. They say it doesn't work. They go back to the old way of living, and they close the door on the possibility of quantum transformation. But if you are still here, still listening, it means you are ready to see through the illusion. You are ready to stop chasing shadows and begin tuning into the real currents that shape your reality. The frustration you felt, the longing, the failed attempts, these are not signs of weakness. They are signs that your soul has been calling you deeper, pushing you to discover what lies beyond the surface. In just a moment, we will step into the 3 quantum laws nobody tells beginners. These are not abstract theories. They are living principles that explain why your reality has responded the way it has, and how you can finally shift it at the level that truly matters. But before we move there, let this truth settle into your heart. You were never failing. You were simply playing on the surface. The illusion was never meant to be the final step. It was the doorway, and now you are ready to walk through it. The moment you see through the illusion of surface-level manifestation, you are ready for the deeper truths. This is where most seekers stop, frustrated, believing manifestation is a trick of the mind or something reserved for a chosen few. But the truth is far more profound. Reality is not random, nor is it withholding. It is responsive. It is alive. And it follows certain principles so simple yet so overlooked that many never discover them. These are the quantum laws that shape how your inner world becomes your outer world. Once you understand them, the confusion begins to fade, and clarity takes its place. These laws are not about trying harder, but about aligning more deeply. The first quantum law that no one tells beginners is this: reality responds not to what you want, but to what you are. Desire alone does not create. You can want something with every fiber of your being, but if your energy is broadcasting lack, the desire will always remain at a distance. It is like standing in front of a mirror and begging the reflection to smile first. No matter how desperately you plead, the reflection only responds when you shift. Reality mirrors being, not wanting. This is why so many desires seem forever out of reach. The universe is not ignoring you. It is faithfully echoing what you embody. When you are steeped in fear, doubt, or impatience, that frequency becomes your signal. But when you step into the vibration of already being, already having, already living the reality you choose, then reality has no option but to reflect it. Think of it like a tuning fork. Strike one fork and place it near another of the same frequency, and the second begins to vibrate as well. But if the frequencies are mismatched, there is silence. You cannot force resonance. You must become it. Beginners are often taught to declare desires without being guided into the deeper embodiment of them. But once you begin to live as if, to breathe as if, to feel as if, you shift from wanting into being, and the universe responds instantly to that state. The first law is the law of embodied resonance. Reality does not grant what you wish for. It mirrors what you embody. The second quantum law that beginners rarely hear is this: the universe responds to your dominant vibration, not your occasional effort. Many people meditate once a week, write down affirmations once a month, or visualize their dream for a few minutes before bed. but then spend the rest of their days drenched in worry, stress, and self-doubt. The occasional moments of positivity are like drops of clear water in an ocean of fear. They cannot purify the whole. What shapes reality is not a fleeting spark of belief, but the steady flame of your dominant state. This is why it feels so difficult for some people to make manifestation work. They light a candle of faith in the morning, but by afternoon that flame has been drowned by anxiety, comparison, or disbelief. The universe listens to the overall symphony, not just the occasional note. Imagine an orchestra playing a chaotic tune, and one violinist decides to play a beautiful melody for a moment. Unless the whole orchestra shifts, the melody is lost. In the same way your vibration is an orchestra, your daily emotions, thoughts, and beliefs play together to create the sound the universe hears. It is the consistency of your vibration, not the intensity of a single moment, that carves your reality. This does not mean you must be perfect or never feel fear again. It means you must begin to choose alignment as a lifestyle, not as a momentary ritual. It means building practices and patterns that support your dominant state being one of openness, trust, and alignment. That way, even when fear whispers, it no longer leads the orchestra. This is the second law. Reality reflects your dominant vibration, not your fleeting effort. The third quantum law is perhaps the most hidden, and the one that often surprises people the most. Detachment is the bridge that allows manifestation to arrive. Beginners are often told to want more, to focus harder, to cling to the vision until it shows up. But this clinging creates resistance. Imagine holding sand in your hand. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips away. The same is true with manifestation. When you cling to the desire, obsess over its absence, or constantly check whether it has arrived, you are broadcasting the vibration of lack. You are telling reality, I do not have this yet, and reality mirrors that truth. True creation requires detachment, not indifference, not giving up, but a calm release. It is the trust that once the seed has been planted, the soil will do its work. You do not dig up a seed every day to check if it has sprouted. You water it, you nurture the soil, and you trust the unseen process. Detachment is the act of letting go of the timeline, letting go of the how, and resting in the knowing that what you have embodied is already on its way. Beginners rarely hear this because it seems counterintuitive. How could wanting less lead to receiving more? But in truth, it is not about wanting less. It is about shifting from craving into knowing, from grasping into allowing. These three laws, embodied resonance, dominant vibration, and detachment, are the hidden keys to manifestation that most beginners never encounter. And once you begin to integrate them, everything changes. The old self tries to manifest by force, by repetition, by effort. The new self manifests by alignment, by consistency, and by surrender. One path leads to exhaustion, the other to flow. Think about the contrast within your own life. When you have wanted something desperately, how did it feel? There was tightness, urgency, fear of not having. And when you have allowed something to flow naturally, perhaps a friendship, an opportunity, a chance encounter, it often felt effortless, as if the universe placed it gently into your hands. That effortless flow was alignment with these laws. You were being, not craving. You were consistent, not scattered. You were detached, not desperate. These laws are not new. They are ancient truths echoed in spiritual traditions, whispered in meditation halls, and confirmed even in quantum physics, which shows us that observation shapes outcome, and that energy fields interact in resonance. But for the modern seeker, they often remain hidden behind simplified teachings of positive thinking. Yet here they are, available to you now, not as theories, but as invitations to live differently. Imagine what your life could look like if you began to embody these laws today. Imagine carrying yourself as if you already are abundant, loved, and fulfilled. Imagine cultivating a dominant vibration of trust so strong that temporary setbacks no longer shake you. Imagine releasing the obsessive need to control, and instead walking with a quiet knowing that reality is already rearranging itself in your favor. This is not wishful thinking. This is the science of consciousness, the art of alignment, and the secret doorway into a shifted reality. So now, as these laws settle into your awareness, you stand at another threshold. The old self can cling to the surface, repeating words without energy, efforting without alignment. But the new self is ready to step into the deeper currents, to let these laws guide every thought, every emotion, every action. And from that place, manifestation is no longer a struggle, it becomes your natural state of being. Understanding the quantum laws is powerful, but understanding alone is not enough. Knowledge without embodiment remains a concept, a spark that flickers for a moment and then fades. The true shift happens when knowledge becomes lived reality, when the ideas move from the mind into the body, into the breath, into the choices you make each day. This is the difference between reading about freedom and actually stepping outside of the prison cell. And so the question becomes, how do you move from knowing to living? How do you make these quantum laws more than words, more than inspiration, but the very fabric of your being? The first step is awareness. Before change can take root, you must become aware of the patterns that keep you tethered to the old self. Throughout your day, notice the subtle ways your energy speaks. Notice when your thoughts return to lack, when your emotions spiral into fear, when your body tightens with worry. These are not signs of failure, they are invitations to shift. Awareness is like turning on the light in a dark room. The shadows do not disappear immediately, but you see them clearly, and in seeing you are no longer ruled by them. From awareness comes choice. In each moment, you have the power to tune your frequency. This does not mean forcing yourself to feel joy when you feel sadness, or pretending to be abundant when fear rises. It means choosing alignment gently, step by step. If you feel lack, pause and breathe into gratitude for what is already here. If fear whispers, answer with trust, even if it is small. If doubt knocks, remind yourself that every shift begins in the unseen before it arrives in the seen. These small choices, repeated consistently, build your dominant vibration. You are tuning your inner orchestra note by note until the entire symphony begins to play in harmony. A practical way to live this is through daily rituals. Rituals are not about rigid discipline, they are anchors that remind you of who you truly are. Begin your morning, not with rushing into tasks, but with a moment of stillness. Close your eyes, place your hand on your heart, and embody the state of the self who already lives the reality you desire. Breathe as if that version of you is already here. Walk as if, speak as if, not pretending but remembering. This simple practice of morning embodiment aligns your vibration before the day unfolds. Visualization becomes more powerful when paired with embodiment. Instead of just picturing the car, the home, or the partner, feel what it would be like to wake up in that reality. How does your body feel? How does your breath move? What emotions are alive in you? The body does not know the difference between imagination and reality. When you embody the feeling, you are already broadcasting the frequency. And as the law of embodied resonance teaches us, reality must mirror what you are. Equally important is the practice of release. Integration is not only about building alignment, it is also about letting go of the grip. Remember the third law. Detachment. Throughout your day, notice when you find yourself checking, waiting, or worrying about the outcome. That is the old self, clinging. In those moments, practice letting go. Say to yourself, it is already done. Feel the relief of surrender, like setting down a heavy bag you've carried too long. This act of release is not passive, it is active trust, the bridge that allows your desires to flow into form. Integration also means cultivating environments that support your vibration. The people you spend time with, the media you consume, the spaces you inhabit all feed your energy. If you surround yourself with negativity, doubt, or constant reminders of lack, it becomes harder to maintain alignment. But if you choose environments that uplift, conversations that inspire, and spaces that feel abundant, your dominant vibration becomes easier to sustain. It is not about cutting yourself off from the world, but about choosing consciously what you allow to shape your energy. And perhaps one of the most overlooked aspects of integration is patience. In a world conditioned by instant results, it can be difficult to trust a process that unfolds in unseen ways. But quantum creation does not operate on the timelines of the old self. It operates on alignment. The seed sprouts in its own time, but only if you do not dig it up in doubt. Patience is not waiting with frustration, it is waiting with trust, knowing that reality is already shifting in ways you cannot yet see. The more you relax into patience, the more space you create for synchronicities to arrive. Think of someone learning to play an instrument. At first the notes are scattered, the rhythm uneven, but with practice, with consistency, the music begins to flow. Integration is the same. You may stumble, you may forget, you may return to old habits. But each time you return to awareness, each time you choose alignment, you are tuning the instrument of your being. Over time the music becomes natural, effortless. You no longer think about the laws, you live them. And this is the true gift of integration. Manifestation becomes less of a practice and more of a state of being. You no longer ask, "How do I create this?" because your very presence is aligned with creation. Opportunities flow to you, people feel drawn to you, life rearranges itself around you, not because you forced it, but because you became it. The old self chases, the new self attracts. The old self grasps, the new self allows. The old self doubts, the new self trusts. So as you move forward, remember this: the laws are not outside of you, they are not secrets held by someone else. They are woven into your very being, waiting for you to embody them. Every thought, every emotion, every choice is a chance to align or to resist, and even when you resist, the next moment offers you another chance to align. There is no punishment, no failure. There is only the invitation, again and again, to live as the conscious creator you truly are. This is the integration, this is the shift from knowing to living, and once you cross this threshold, life itself begins to feel different. The air feels lighter, the days feel guided, and the path ahead feels less like a struggle and more like a dance. And perhaps the greatest miracle of all is not the manifestations themselves, but the way you change in the process, the calm, the trust, the alignment that becomes your new foundation. From that place, the manifestations are not the goal, they are the natural result of who you have become. As we come to the close of this journey, pause for a moment and notice how you feel compared to when we began. Perhaps there is a subtle shift, a sense of clarity, a whisper of calm in your chest. That shift is not accidental. It is the natural result of truth resonating with your being. You have walked through the illusions, uncovered the deeper laws, and begun to glimpse the self that is no longer trapped in cycles of frustration, but instead aligned with the currents of creation itself. Think back to where you were at the beginning, the old self, trying hard, repeating words, painting over cracks, hoping life might finally change. That self was never wrong. It was simply standing on the surface, unaware of the deeper currents beneath. Now you know. Now you see that reality does not respond to desperate wanting, but to embodied being. It does not reflect fleeting efforts, but dominant vibration, and it does not flow through clinging, but through detachment and trust. This is the great contrast. The old way was about effort, struggle, and control. The new way is about resonance, consistency, and surrender. One leaves you exhausted, the other leaves you free, and the choice between the two is always yours. With every breath, every thought, every emotion, you are shaping the mirror of reality. You are no longer a passive observer, hoping life might shift. You are an active creator, aware of the laws that have always been guiding you. The invitation now is to live this truth, not just to hear it, not just to understand it, but to embody it in your daily life. To wake each morning and align with the vibration of the self you already are. To choose gratitude over lack, trust over fear, presence over impatience. To release the tight grip of control and allow the universe to do what it does best, reflect your inner world with precision and care. And as you live this way, notice how reality begins to respond. Notice the synchronicities, the opportunities, the subtle shifts that seem to arrive out of nowhere. Notice how the reflection changes when you change. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. They are the universe nodding back to you, saying, yes, you've remembered, you've aligned, and now, watch what unfolds. So as we close, let this truth anchor deeply within you. You are not broken, you are not failing, and you never were. You were simply waiting for the deeper laws to reveal themselves. And now that they have, the path ahead is open. You hold the key, and the door is already unlocked. Step through it, live the laws, embody the vibration, and let reality shift around you like a mirror that finally reflects the true light within. If these words have resonated, allow them to be more than inspiration. Let them be the beginning of a new chapter. And if you feel called, share this journey with others who may still be stuck in the illusion, waiting for the same truths you have now received. Together we rise, one aligned vibration at a time,